I think he wants us not to be anxious.
Okay, it says I'm live. We have a lot of clouds, but I'm going to have faith that we might see something. We might be able to see the eclipse. Okay, where's my special glasses? Okay, here they are. Do I need to put these special glasses over the camera?
No.
What time is it supposed to begin?
You told me. You said 9:28.
Okay, look at 9:28 is the totality, but it's already begun. Here we're at 91%. Well, it says 90%, but I think we're about 93%.
You know what helps me is
Ooh, look at that mushroom cloud above it. Honk, honk.
yeah. They will put that for the camera again.
Hey, what? To what?
Camera.
What about it?
Put the screen in front of the camera again.
This?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The camera compensated. It opened up.
So it's better?
Maybe.
I have, what's this called? The UV filter?
That's not UV.
What kind of filter is it?
So, wide spectrum. It's not filtering UV. It's filtering everything.
Okay.
Knocking down the level.
Yeah, we can't look at the sun. It's, what time is it now?
9:06.
9:06, and it's 9:28 is when it's supposed to be totally dark.
That's what
And
you said. Right?
yeah, and well, that's what the news said.
Uh,
And last time when we had the eclipse, we went into the area where it was totally dark, and it became dark as night. It was bizarre. And you could see the little crescents of the moon and the sun twinkling through the leaves on the ground. It would, the one rainy day, we haven't had rain all week, and it's been nice weather. Let me see if I take this off. Yeah, it makes a difference. There we go. You have my phone? Where's, okay. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Actually heard this from, I used to work on the Navajo reservation, and I'd go visit some of their services. And that word violence, when it first appears in the Bible, I think I've got a slide. I asked our studio to have that ready to put up on the screen because you almost need to see it. It's the word Hamas. There it is. You can see the verse from Genesis chapter 6, verse 11. The earth was also corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. I underline that. I go to the Hebrew. The word violence is Hamas, which I think is interesting. But if you ask a Muslim what Hamas means, they say, well, it means brave and valiant.
Hello,
Courageous.
Avalon Apples.
And because similar root words, but one, you go back
Because
to the
we
ancient
have
usage of the word,
clouds,
and it's a word for
we may
violence.
not see
And
much,
certainly
but
terrorism
we're
is
in
that.
the area where
That's interesting. Then the other thing to
we're
look
about
at, and if people have their
93%.
Bibles, they might go to, if you got a thought, just jump in, Pastor Ross, because otherwise, I can go on and on. If you look at
But we were going to
Jesus
go down to Eugene,
in
but
Matthew
it's
24, when
pouring
he's
rain
talking
down
about
there
prophecy
too.
in
So
connection with Israel. Remember, the disciples are showing Jesus all of the
I'm listening
beautiful
to
buildings
Doug
of
Batchelor,
the temple. You and
and
I
he's
have been to
talking
Israel. We've
about
seen those massive stones under the temple.
the
There by
cause.
the under the Wailing Wall, it was a foundation and retaining wall, huge stones. And they were showing Jesus this. Thought he'd be impressed, and he said, "Don't you see? There will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down." Well, they were thunderstruck
I
by that,
suggest that you
and they
move
got him
that
alone privately.
filter
And
over half
then
of
he
about
gives this
half a
discourse
hammer
called
instead of
an Olivet discourse about the destruction of the world,
Over.
the construction of Jerusalem,
half.
a time of trouble through history, the end of the world.
I don't
the
know
second
what you mean
coming.
by half the camera.
And he says in verse 6 that you'll hear of
So
wars
that half of the
and
picture
rumors of
has
wars.
the filter,
See that you be not
Oh.
troubled.
and the other half
For all this
doesn't.
must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So, can there be
You're gonna turn
prophecy
the camera
connected with what's happening
to
now?
center it.
Yes.
Center it
Is it because there's a
for the
war?
whole camera.
No, because this is certainly not the first war in history,
Yeah.
and it's not the first war that's involved the Jews, and it's not the first war that's involved the
See, if
nation.
the camera will really
So
adjust,
I would not say there's a war. That means the end is
it'll
coming.
make them
And
improve it.
part of the reason
No, that makes it worse. You can't see anything. Look,
just in the last
Turn
week,
the camera.
there has been a blizzard of pastors that have been posting on YouTube.
Yeah.
Armageddon.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
here. The last days are
yeah.
upon us.
See,
Get ready for the rapture. And just
that tree is not helping, but
all kinds
it
of things.
is.
and put it like
could be
this,
the beginning of
half
those
like
things. Now, I'm
that.
not denying that, and I'm saying
That doesn't make
don't say
sense
that
because
because
you can't see anything. Well, you can't
because
see it.
Okay.
that happens. I mean, Israel had the 6-day war, and there's been a few wars. So, how does it play into prophecy? If it does. Well, for one thing, we know in the last days there's going to be a global pressure to keep certain religious laws that will require people to break the law of God.
Okay.
What is
The
going to bring
annular
about the willingness of a population
annular eclipse.
to
Where
assimilate
and
those laws?
when? October
Typically,
14,
it's through financial
9:18
disaster
a.m.
and through fear, war, natural disasters, through fear.
Shadows in
People
cities.
are willing to surrender their
We're in the
freedom
shadows.
to obtain a sense of security. So, can this event unfold into another World War III? Hopefully, it won't involve nuclear weapons. Can it expand? Well, sure it can. I mean, that's how this happens. This is how it happened in World War I. World War II starts with a minor event.
I don't know what
that
you mean
escalates.
by put that in the
And
half
everybody
of the
starts
view.
taking sides and developing coalitions. And it's terrifying to think with the weapons that the world possesses today that this could turn into that. The fact that Israel is having to use overwhelming force right now,
So
and I'm
sad.
not denying the right to do that. I mean, they're seeing this as a matter of survival, which their neighbors are going to storm across the border and massacre civilians. But today, Hamas, one of the former leaders of Hamas, was calling for a day of rage and
9:18 is when it should get dark.
In the U.S., as of this recording, have been peaceful, but you get quite a crowd in Jordan.
Starting to get dark, isn't it?
And as Israel is raining leaflets on northern Gaza, telling people to evacuate. It does create a humanitarian crisis.
Well, I wonder if it'll
so
get dark as night. Our
And
security
you'll see
cameras picked it
some
up a
other
couple of years
Islamic
ago.
nations align with Gaza. So it's got the potential. It's extremely
Okay, we
visible,
have 5 more
is what I'm
minutes.
saying. And that can trigger, that can cascade into the domino effect where it starts bleeding over into other nations.
So, of course, the question to consider is,
But
with that as the
we only
background,
have
considering
about
ancient Bible prophecy, Israel,
we don't
small
have
country.
full
Yeah, it's not
totality.
very big, and yet it
We're
seems
not
to
in
have
the
such
area
a
where it's full
hold on so much
totality,
of the
but
world,
we have
and
about
yet and the things that are
95%.
happening in Israel seems to have
We
the
would have to
attention more
drive
than any
another
one
hour, 2 hours
place.
south,
What's so special or significant about
and
Israel?
we didn't know
Yeah, well,
if it was going to be
geographically, let's talk about that for just a minute. I think we
pouring rain
might
there or
put
cloudy.
up on that.
But
When you look at the world, Israel is a fairly small country. I think it's smaller than New Jersey. And well, actually, there you've got a picture on the screen. You've got the Gaza. You can see the line for the west.
so you mean make it where it's
Gaza,
half
the Gaza Strip,
like
and
that?
you can see that Israel's on the right. You can just visually from
Larry?
satellite. I just captured this.
Is that what you mean?
Computer from Google Earth. And you can just see that one side is more spacious with farmland. The congestion of the people that live in Gaza is extremely compressed. The area that is Gaza, they call them Palestinians. Well, that word
It's too late.
from the word, and you read in the Bible,
9:15.
the land
We
of
have
the
3 more
Philistines,
minutes.
which was around Ashkelon and
The camera automatically adjusts the light level.
Right.
And that later.
To see that
find
more
out
clearly,
now these
you need to
people are
darken it more.
Palestinians.
How do you darken it?
Historically, they're Muslims.
By
they speak
pulling the
Arabic.
camera
It's an
with a
Arabic
bright
speaking.
picture
They
on
probably
the left.
brought most of them into an Arabic country.
So
maybe
make,
right at home.
see, this is wasted area
They're
right
called
here.
Palestinians because they're living
Right?
in the region.
Right.
Dark.
Used to live.
What if that area right
But the
there
whole country
became
is
suddenly very
People
bright?
call that
The
Palestine.
camera
Not
was
actually
shut
Israel.
down
We call them the whole thing.
and make
Or
that
the Philistines,
dimmer.
which is
Okay.
what it is.
But I don't know how to fix that.
So historically,
Well,
God
that's
has
why you
this,
should
it's on
move
a
the filter
land
so that this
between
this
two
whole area
continents.
right here
Now that's not as important for you to look at.
is
But in the days
bright.
of the Bible, when armies marched on the ground,
The idea is to make everything else bright.
Like that?
Europe, Asia,
Unfortunately, that's a real dark area.
Jordan Valley. It was very important for taxes.
But
It was incredible. That's how Solomon had such incredible wealth. The tax income.
I guess flashlight. Maybe that'll work.
So wealthy. He was a tax collector in Jericho. So it's a strategically
Okay.
very important piece of property.
9,
At one time, it was a land
16. We have 2 more minutes.
over the centuries of war.
It's getting darker.
It's actually the climate has changed some. They call it desertification. But anyway, that's also the land that you find that God promised to Abraham. Now, Cheryl, I didn't tell you this. I'm talking to someone in the studio. I had a map of the borders of Israel during the time of Solomon and David. And if you can find that, put that up. There it is. You'll see that was the ancient land that God pretty much gave to Solomon and David. Now, if you look in the lower left corner, you'll see a reddish area. That's where the Gaza Strip is right now. That was the land of the Philistines. But Israel's land that was given back following World War II is much smaller than that. The West Bank is.
It's not helping.
Given largely to the Muslims, is what it amounts to. And so they're kind of surrounded on all sides by nations that are not.
Okay, it's happening now.
The Hamas.
You see it dark and
Okay,
dark.
it's happening now. But you're going to have to move your arm out of the way because all we see is your arm.
Yes, ma'am. In the north of Lebanon, have started firing at least some small artillery. So they're already, as we speak, beginning to get it from the north and the south. So it's an extremely.
Okay, 9:18.
I think that believers should be praying for this.
But Pastor, that it's interesting that just the history of Israel, we touched on it a little bit, when God calls Abraham to come out of Ur the Chaldees, leads him to this new land. He promises to give it to Abraham's descendants, Abraham's descendants.
Oh, we don't see like we did last year or last time where it had those shadows on the ground.
recognized as a people group. They still have
Can
their
I
own
move the
language.
light?
They still have
See
their
what
own
happens?
religion.
Yeah.
Tell us more about the history
I'm
of Israel,
throwing
how
the
they
camera
took
in
place
the-
and
Okay.
came
Yeah,
back.
there's,
Pulling the camera.
if for no other reason, if a person wonders if the Bible's true, I would think that Jew would be exhibit A.
9:18 and 50 seconds.
So it passed.
Yep, it's past.
Okay, we didn't see much change.
No change. But it is dark right now, but not dark like it did night
No.
when we were in the path of totality. Oh well. Big fail. Hello, Angela. Can you believe this? Solar. Yeah. Last time our security cameras showed that it was really dark. It got like night, but I didn't see any ring. There's another one that comes in April of next year, 2024. And it makes a sign. It's prophetic. It's in the Bible. It's interesting. We had some geese flying through here a little bit ago. Oh, it starts at 9:18:50. It begins at 9:13 and ends. I don't know. It seems like it's getting darker now, doesn't it? Oh, that one that we saw 2 years ago was just epic because it was as dark as night. The birds quieted down and it was pitch black, just like it was night.
Is it my phone?
No.
No.
And that was really bizarre, seeing it pitch black in the middle of the afternoon. Paul was with us. He was so impressed. He was a science teacher. He lived with us. He had dementia. But he really thought that was really cool. Well, at least it's not pouring down rain.
Yeah, amazing.
Still a little darker than it usually is. We're being told that our grid is going to be attacked. And that's what Putin and Rocket Man got together with their plan to attack the grid, take the grid down. What do you think those weather balloons were all about? Hanging over Montana for 4 days. That was something else. Oh, language of horses. I wanted to send you something. I think I saw it on TikTok, not sure, but the horse was nibbling on the kitty cat. Did you see that? But I didn't know how to put it on how to send it to you. I guess I could put it on a message, but it was so cute because the horse was nibbling on the kitty, and the kitty was loving it. It was so cute.
You did not inherit the skills and confidence that it takes to can hundreds and hundreds of jars of food for your family to get through the winter. Maybe you're from the generation that these skills didn't get passed down to, and the only thing that you're inheriting is fear and regulations from agencies. Today on our family's YouTube channel, I am sharing some of my favorite tips and hacks that got passed down to me from my Mennonite mom and grandma.
Boom,
I answer
boom.
some of the most commonly asked questions to try to dispel the fear so that you can practice
Now it's getting
and
lighter,
master
huh?
the skill of canning.
Notice
Maybe
how
you
it's
did
getting
not
lighter?
inherit the skills and confidence that it takes to can hundreds and hundreds of jars of food for your family to get through the winter. Maybe you're from the generation that these skills didn't get passed down to, and the only thing that you're inheriting is fear and regulations from agencies. Today on our family's YouTube channel, I am sharing some of my favorite tips and hacks that got passed down to me from my Mennonite mom and
I'll try to find that language of horses. I'll try to find that one that I was looking at with the horse nuzzling the kitty. It was so cute. I thought, I gotta send that to her. I have a filter over my camera. Oh, you know what? I love watching those people that have monkeys in their house. Oh my gosh. I could never have monkeys in my house. Oh, it's brightening up. I love your website, Language of Horses. It's just so cute. I had horses. My sister's a horse specialist. Shelby Jean Philly, Dr. Shelby Philly. She's a professor at Oregon State, and she specializes in cattle, milking, and feeding sheep and goats. Mm. She's a smart one in our family. Uh, there's so many crazy people on YouTube. I hate it when they dance. Wish I could play piano like that. Oh, you should see her horses. Language of Horses. Put your link to your YouTube channels so we can get in a hold of each other. Poor kitty. Mm. Look at this tall girl. Wow, she's taller than anybody. Wow. Is that for real? Hmm. Where's Jules? I haven't seen Jules for a while. Oh my gosh. Look at this decoupage job. Language of Horses, I think you'll like this dresser. She's decoupaging it. Wow. That is cool. We had a stallion. He went nuts and he bit my granddaughter on the boob. She came running in the house screaming. She'd gone out to the, oh, I couldn't believe it. She'd gone out to the pasture after Molly had had her foal, and the stallion was going nuts because you know what happens after the baby is born. Oh, here's Felix, my cat. Meow, 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 meow. Pet Cemetery Bloodlines repose. I have to repose that. Use this effect. I don't like it when TikTok asks to use my everything. Anyway, I'll have to find that. How y'all doing? Is everybody doing good? Angela, are you feeling better? Did you see? I sent you a link to give to your doctor what they have discovered about long haul. Long haul gives you, after you have COVID or after you have the jab, either way or both, and you get long haul COVID, like my husband, he has fatigue so bad it's horrible and pain. Anyway, it is from micro blood clots, and they are giving ivermectin. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I don't advise you take any ivermectin, but the doctors put my husband on ivermectin, what, 25 milligrams? 12 milligrams a day. And people reported that after 2 weeks, they are totally new people. And that this long haul is micro blood clots. And that's what causes the problems. So, Angela, I sent you the link to that. And I sent it to my doctor. And he went, wow, Okay. Well, I have some news. Larry and I are now multi-millionaires. It did. Larry didn't want me to tell you. We did some investment, and wow. But after taxes, we're, we're going to have enough to buy a new roof, the flooring. What else? We need a new roof. We want to put a metal roof, flooring, maybe upgrade the motorhome. No, we'll keep the motorhome. We're putting in a wood stove into the guest house, and he said he can put a wood stove into our motorhome. But I don't know. Anyway, it went through our investment. Let me call the other friend. Oh, that COVID Larry had he was really bad.
Hello?
Hi,
Yeah.
did you hear the news
Which news?
about the RV?
Well, I read that you sent.
No, just now.
Oh, no, I haven't.
It went through.
Where'd you see that?
Well, just go on the line. Go online, look. And then call me back.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's see. I will give that link out. I sent it to my doctor, and I have his home phone number. He's a really nice doctor. He's not in it for the money, and he charges $100 a month, and you can see him as many times as you want. But he doesn't take insurance. But if we have to have things done like blood tests and x-rays and stuff, we just use our Medicare. So anyway, I sent them this the COVID clots, a full measure town hall. But they're saying that
I felt like my body was just shutting down.
any of you that have long COVID,
about it.
pay attention to this.
The time where it was when I was running, I was doing a workout, and all of a sudden I cannot feel my legs.
I just felt terrible, dizzy, lethargic. As I understand it, I was making lots of blood clots, but they were so tiny you couldn't detect them.
What is the treatment he gave you, and how do you feel today?
He put me on the triple anticoagulant therapy. Within 2 weeks, I felt like I had risen from the dead.
This is New Discovery.
This is Your Voice, Your Future, Full Measure Town Hall with Cheryl Atkinson.
Look at this beautiful
Welcome
tree.
to a special Full Measure Town Hall, the COVID clots. I'm Cheryl Atkinson.
Look up the COVID.
Be on the way for many.
COVID
First, we
clots.
hear from some patients.
Down right there. Let me take a look at your eye.
If there's a singular person that first set the gears turning for Dr. Jordan Vaughn, it's Vandiver Chaplin.
Take your breath in.
It was December 2020, shortly after his COVID vaccines. What were you feeling?
I just felt terrible, dizzy, lethargic, all those kind of things. And I was having some optical issues too. My vision.
Angela had a friend who got his jab, and within an hour he was gone. healthy, wonderful. How old was he, Angela? 65 years old? Yeah. It's just awful. And my husband, he's never been a lazy man, but he's having to take 4-hour naps during the day. We don't have the guest house rented, so we lost that income. So hopefully the other investment will help us get through this mess. Look how beautiful it is. I love Oregon, even though it's cold and rainy all the time. But anyway, this is called the COVID.
I felt like my body was just shutting down on me, and there wasn't anything I could do about it.
I can pinpoint the day, the time where it was. When I was running, I was doing a workout, and all of a sudden, I cannot feel my legs.
I just felt terrible, dizzy, lethargic. As I understand it, I was making lots of
Would I
blood
get in
clots, but they were
trouble
so
for
tiny you
showing
couldn't
this?
detect them.
What is the treatment he gave you and how do you feel today?
He put me on the triple anticoagulant therapy within 2 weeks.
Anyway, my
I
doctor said,
felt like I had
whoa,
risen from the
this
dead.
is wonderful information. And
This
hopefully,
is Your Voice, Your Future. Full Measure Town
yeah,
Hall with
Angela,
Cheryl
did you
Atkinson.
tell? This is the website, Full Measure. With COVID clots. If somebody could post that here, that would be nice so others can grab it. Zinc, antiviral, vitamin D. I forgot what else besides ivermectin, first 2 weeks. Also antibiotics and prednisone. Besides IVM is ivermectin. And Nancy, did you get better? Did you get healed? Yeah, I'm so glad, Angela, that you're feeling better. The last 4 years was really hard on everyone. People had to make decisions for their jobs. Yeah. I know somebody, he was a hospital administrator, making $300,000 a year. But because he worked for a major hospital, he was forced into doing what most of us don't want to do. And so he said no. And they said, you can't keep your job. And my housekeeper, she's Mexican. Of course, so am I. So I don't look it, but my mom's fully Mexican. Anyway, he worked at a nursery, and he would work a few hours overtime. And the government said he had to get paid overtime, time and a half, anybody working over 40 hours a week. And but they forced his company to I'm trying to get a better view. Forced his company to sorry, I'm getting distracted, to pay time and a half and all this stuff. And as these nurseries, they're not making millions and millions of dollars here in Oregon. So he got his job cut, his hours cut to 20 hours a week. And now he doesn't know what he's going to do. So we hired him for, gave him and his wife a couple $100 for helping. And he put the money in his wallet and he had tears in his eyes. And he says, "Thank you. I really needed that. I didn't have any money. I didn't know how I was going to buy groceries." His daughter's having a baby. And his daughter is really super sweet. I just adore her. And she had a baby shower. And she says she got all kinds of cute clothes. But she says what she really needed was diapers. And but she didn't get any diapers or anything, so I bought her 4 cases of diapers. And then I got her a case of butt wipes from Costco. So she thought, wow, now she's all set for her baby. Well, she's married and her husband works, but they don't make that much money. And Larry and I are not multi-millionaires, but we're comfortable. We don't give money to people online like I was doing. What an idiot I was. Foolish. But anyway, I think what I'll do is a man can vacuum the house. Larry's too tired to vacuum and paint. We need the inside painted, so I think we can keep him employed all year long. Or at least try to. I don't know. Oh, why? You want to hear a story, a true story that is bizarre? Bizarre. I've never told it before. And it just goes to show how people can betray you no matter how nice you treat them. Listen to that. Gunfire down in the abandoned pit. Anyway, see where this tree is over here in that yard? That big tree. Anyway, that property next door was owned by a man and his wife. I didn't have much to do with them except she rented our acreage. We had a couple of acres in our horse barn. And she kept her horses and her goat on our property. Oh, I'm glad you feel much better. So there's hope for Larry? Oh, I hope so. Frontline doctor on Zoom. Anyway, this doctor, country doctor, he just charges $100 a month. And we paid for 2 years, or for a whole year, so it cost us $1,600. And then there's a gal that I know that she's got psoriatic psoriasis, and she's been in horrible pain, and she's quite heavy. And the doctors just ignore her because it's welfare doctors. And they said, well, if you weren't so fat, you wouldn't feel sick. And she says, I felt sick when I was thin. So they just ignored her. Anyway, I'm paying for her to see the doctor. She doesn't know it, so, but she won't watch this. She doesn't watch YouTube. anyway, he's helping her and giving her, having tests run, and discovered she's extremely anemic. So now she's taking iron pills, and she's going to feel better. But she felt better already that he would just listen to her and not just look at her. But this doctor he's a country doctor out here in Estacada, and he's been there forever, and like 30 years. And then he had to go into town to Portland Adventist Hospital, and he just hated it. And finally, he just had enough because he doesn't believe in Fauci and people like that. So he left and opened up his practice here in the country town. Everybody's so happy. But anyway, so I had to go to a pain clinic, and the neighbor lady also had failed back surgery. So, but let me back up. So we were in, this is the story, and it's a honest to God's truth. It's hard to believe. Totally bizarre story. But I didn't know her that much. But I did call her. We were in Florida Keys for a couple of weeks, and I called her to ask her, what's the weather like, and if everything's all right, is our house still standing and stuff like that. So, and I talked to her just one time while we were gone. I think we were gone 6 weeks this time there in Florida. Motorola pays for Larry to go to Florida all the time back then. So it wasn't like we were wealthy to go. So anyway, I'm getting distracted here. Trying to show the beautiful valley. You can't see it. So I was sitting on the plane. We were leaving Georgia, flying to Portland, which was a good 6-hour flight. I don't know, maybe longer, all across the United States. And we were going down the tarmac and just kind of waiting to take off. And I turned my phone on, and my husband said, "Why are you turning your phone off? You got to turn it off. Put it on airplane mode." I says, "I got to call Chris." And he says, "What? What's going on?" I says, "I got to call Chris." He says, "No, you don't need to call her. You can call her when we get back." I said, "No, I've got to call Chris now." And so I called her cell phone, but it was 7 o'clock in the morning Georgia time. So that meant it was 4 o'clock, 4, 5, 6, 7. It was 4 o'clock in the morning, Oregon time. And of course, she didn't answer her cell phone. So then I called her cell phone again. Then I called her house phone. I called her 5 or 6 times. And he says, "Put your phone away. Oh my gosh. Why are you calling Chris? This is bizarre. You don't really know her." And that's true. I didn't really know her. And he says, "Why are you calling her?" I says, "I don't know, Larry. I just have to call her. There's just something just driving me to call her." And he says, "Oh my gosh, put the phone down and stop this. We're going to get in trouble because you have to have your phone off because you're on the plane." And he said, let me adjust this. So I just felt compelled to call her. I had no idea why. So then I left a message on their house phone. I said, "Chris, this is Cheryl. Just calling you. I just have a feeling that I need to get a hold of you." I says, I'm sorry. I know it's 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, but we sat on that tarmac for quite a while. And, huh?
Blaze was standing by the front door
Uh-huh.
so I could see him from the kitchen. Just standing there.
Oh,
Please, see me.
oh,
And he
did you?
wouldn't move.
And you opened the door?
Opened the door, he moved back about 6 feet.
Uh-huh.
And put the bowl chicken. Put the bowl of chicken.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm sure he's eating it right now, but it'll be on for another minute.
Okay, I'm talking. Take a video of him. Anyway, you know, our tuxedo cat, Liberace, has been missing since February 14. And then Felix, our inside tuxedo. And now we have 2 more tuxedo cats. They're brothers, they're ferals. So they come feeding here at our front door every day. Isn't that bizarre? 2 feral tuxedos replaced Felix and Liberace, who are gone. So anyway, so I left him, in Women's Intuition. So I kept calling. I think I called her cell phone 3 or 4 times, and I left 2 or 3 messages on her house phone. And her husband are split up. They sleep in separate bedrooms. And her husband drinks a lot. He's dead. He drank himself to death. And anyway, he heard the phone ringing, and he was just furious. And he finally went into her room, and he says, do you know that Cheryl has called you 100 times? She left a phone message at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Tell her not to call. That's ridiculous. And he's yelling down the hallway, and Chris didn't answer back, and he opened her door. Like I said, they've been living apart for years. And he opened the door and found her on the floor, barely alive. She was just barely breathing. So they called for the paramedics, so the sheriff showed up, and they did an investigation to see maybe if he had murdered her or whatever, or tried to murder her. But she had taken a whole bottle. She had a huge bottle of Xanax and a couple of bottles of whiskey, and she was dying. And they worked on her for some time, and then they finally transported her to the hospital, which is 22 miles away. It's a 30-minute drive. And they got her there. They pumped her stomach. They put charcoal in her stomach and everything. And it was touch and go all day. They barely saved her life. And they said, boy, 5 minutes more, you would have died. You wouldn't be alive. Why in the world did I call her? Is that bizarre? Yeah, I saved her life. There's no reason for me to have called her. 0 reason for me to. And I don't call her. I'm not friends with her. And she's kind of cuckoo. And then she wanted me to give her some Christmas stuff, and I says, well, I don't have Christmas stuff in this shed. And she says, well, I want to go through that shed. I'm going, oh my gosh, no. And it kind of pissed me off. Anyway, she was so drunk that she almost hit my car, and she lived across the street, but we all live on acreage, so you can't walk easily. So she took her car back home, and she crashed into her garage because she was so drunk driving, and pissed off at me. So she was mad because I wouldn't let her go through my boxes in the shed. And then, so I kind of made peace with her because you keep your enemies close and your friends close and your enemies closer. So, because she kind of scared me because she carried a gun with her all the time. And her and her husband, they were all drinking and then shooting into the fire. And a couple of bullets ricocheted and hit our house, and a bullet went flying past my husband's ear. And we had to tell him to stop shooting. So anyway, Angela, you're gonna have to go get to the store. Ooh, be careful, Angela. They're saying be careful, don't go into the public areas. Let's all pray for Angela. Anyway, so I was going up to the pain clinic up in Vancouver, Washington, and she said she couldn't afford to give me any gas money. And she says, here, I'll give you a bottle of opioid pain meds. And I said, no, I can't take those. She says, oh, this is worth like $500. Use the street value. I says, Chris, I can't take those. And I won't. But she left the bottle in my car because she thought that would be payment for the gas that I, drove her up there, because it's an hour's drive up there. So I didn't take any, and I told my husband, I said, oh my gosh, I forget, it was codeine. Yeah, she had codeine pain meds, and she was getting ready to get a second script. She hadn't touched the first bottle because she drinks all the time. And they were going to do a urine test on her, but she said she couldn't because she didn't want to do it because she'd been drinking all night, and that would show up in her urine. You can't drink and take those pain meds. So one day she was helping me, or I was somewhere, we were somewhere, I was shopping or something. I said I was hurting so bad. And she says, well, here, take a Vicodin. So I did. I took the Vicodin. And I'm not supposed to take anything else except for the oxycodone that I was given. But I didn't think anything of it. And then our appointment was for in a day or two. Well, she had called the pain clinic and told them that I was at the RV place where she lives. She lives in an RV park. And that I was going around to all the people asking to buy a Vicodin, which I don't take Vicodin because it's got Tylenol, and I have liver damage because of my hepatitis. But it doesn't hurt to take it once in a while. Anyway, so the doctor asked me, did you take a Vicodin? And I said, yes, I did. He says, where did you get it? But I didn't want to tell him. I didn't want to turn Chris in. I says, oh, I had it in my car, which was the truth. I did have it in my car. And he asked Larry, has Cheryl been going around up to the RV park? He says, no, Cheryl would never drive up there. It's an hour drive. And Cheryl's 2 torn rotators and new surgery. There's no way she's going to do that. Anyway, Chris had called the pain clinic and told them that I had been taking her Vicodin. Now this was at the same time she was still getting codeine too. I don't know why. But here I saved her life. And she turns around and does that to me. So I never talked to her again. And I saved that bottle of codeine and I finally got rid of it. But I should have taken it to the doctor. But I quit going to that clinic. I was so embarrassed and I was so upset. He didn't cut me off. He says, well, don't ever do that again and take a Vicodin or anything. It wasn't like I was taking meth or something. But here I had saved her life. And I let her use our property, or we had, 5 acres then and a horse barn. And let her have her horses and her goats on our property. And she turns around and does that to me. I mean, is that bizarre? It's just, I couldn't believe the level of betrayal that she did to me. And I didn't tell the doctor what she had done about the Vicodin, trying to pay me for a ride with the Vicodin, for the Vicodin, and then it was just horrible. Yeah, charcoal, get yourself, everybody needs to have charcoal in their house, activated charcoal tablets, or you can get the powder and put it in capsules or mix it with water and drink it. That will detoxify your body or soak up any poisons that you have in your system. And Chris was in the hospital for a month, and then she got put in a mental facility for a month because she tried to commit suicide. They said she just, if I hadn't called, her husband would have gone to work, and he stays gone all week. It was Monday, and he wouldn't have been back till Friday. He would have returned and found a dead woman. But she betrays her daughter and everybody she knows. It's just weird. So you have to be careful with people. Just unbelievable. And I always, just nasty. I can't believe, because I knew her for 30 years. We lived across the street. Well, not 30 years, 20 years. Because she's been gone here. She moved away. Her husband divorced her. Her daughter won't talk to her, and I don't blame them. But what a weird story, huh? That I would call her and call her and call her. Larry can tell you. Then another time I was laying in bed, sound asleep. It was 1:15 in the morning. And I was sound asleep. And I heard my grandmother go, Cheryl, just like that. Now, my grandmother had raised me until I was 3 years old. So my mom left me with her mom and took off to Florida. So my grandparents raised me, and they spoke Spanish, so I learned Spanish. That was my first language. And then my mom used me. She took me to Florida to try to get my dad to go back with her, but that didn't work out. But my grandmother just loved me so much, and she wanted to keep me. And she was heartbroken when my mom took me away. And I was heartbroken too, because I didn't know what was going on here. My grandma, I lived with my grandparents, who were very wealthy. They had the largest dairies there in Norwalk and in Los Angeles. And the thousands of cows. My mom's brothers were quite successful. But my grandmother embraced the Mormon religion, And so only those that were committed LDS are the ones that got the inheritance. And because I'm not Mormon, I didn't get a nickel, neither did my mom. So that was nice. Oh well. Another thing to do is to get, we're going to run out of antibiotics. And I think, we're going to run out of medication. I need to get a couple of years worth of thyroid meds to last me the rest of my life. Because thyroid meds come from India and China. And I'm even afraid to take my pain meds from China. And I take a few and I crush them up and I put them in water and I put a tester and I test them, fentanyl test strip, because I'm scared. What if, they use some of those fentanyl drugs in the pain meds from Walgreens? And Walgreens told me they get their meds from China. So I'm kind of scared to take anything. I'm chicken. But I have colloidal silver. I get the one that's 50% or 50 parts per million colloidal silver. And I tell you, that is such a good antibiotic. It's expensive, but it works wonders as far as an antibiotic. My cats all had pink eye, and it can spread to humans. And so I used a little bit of water with colloidal silver to wash their eyes out, and their eyeballs fell out. So anyway, the colloidal silver got rid of their pink eye. Oh, I'm trying to stand up and I'm hurting. Anyway, it's called Silver Wings, 50 parts per million. And it's like $80 a bottle. But boy, get yourself a bottle of it. And if you got wound infection or cat bite or rat bite or chicken bite or whatever, use it on your wounds to prevent any problems. Anyway, thank you guys for stopping by and listening to my crazy story. That's the honest to God's true story. Can't believe it that I called Chris that many times while on the tarmac. That was just bizarre. Just bizarre. Oh yeah, and my pain makes my mind wander. Plus I have ADD and I'm crazy. And I'm old and I think I have dementia. I started to tell you my story about it was 1 o'clock. It was 1:15 a.m. and I was sound asleep and I heard my grandmother call me, Cheryl. And it made me wake up. I thought, oh my God. Because my grandma was in Palm Springs, about over 1,000 miles away from Portland, Oregon, or where we live. And it came from the direction of Palm Springs. And I thought, that was weird. And I sat up in bed and I woke my husband up. I said, Larry, I heard my grandma call me Cheryl. I said, what time is it? And he looked at the clock and he says, it's 1:17 a.m. in the morning. You're just dreaming. I said, no, I heard my grandmother call me. That's weird. I said, Larry, I think she just died. He says, you were just dreaming. You didn't hear her. So the next morning, my aunt called me and she said, Cheryl, Mom died at 1:15 last night. and she called out your name. Said that was her last words were, Cheryl. And I heard her from over 1,000 miles away. And that's another honest to God's truth. Weird. Oh, listen to that. Is that Wi-Fi? Yeah, that's Wi-Fi. Right, you don't take too much colloidal silver. It's metal and it does not leave your body. It stays in your body. Look up the Blue Man. He drank a lot of it. But I'll put a little in my mouth if I have an infection in my tooth or something. But be careful. Oh, there's so much going on in the world. Israelis and the Palestinians. There was a couple of college students that said Hamas never did that. They didn't harm the women and they didn't hurt any children. Oh, yes, they did. But anyway, the girls, these college students can't believe it. And they support Palestinians, which there's a lot of innocent people. Anyway, I'm just talking to myself. You guys take care and get yourself some colloidal silver and some charcoal, activated charcoal. You can't just get the charcoal out of the fire pit. You have to get activated charcoal. And I tell you what, it's really good. Oh, one of the guys, the delivery guys, he had a stomach ache and he told me he'd been vomiting all morning. He says, I think me and my girlfriend got food poisoning. And I says, well, do you have any charcoal? He says, no. I says, that'll help it. And so I gave him a couple of tablespoons of activated charcoal and some juice, apple juice. And he drank that. And the next day he says, man, I felt so much better. Oh my gosh. And then I gave some to my girlfriend too, or his wife or whatever, because she too had food poisoning. She says it helped us within just a few minutes. Yeah. But the colloidal silver topical is good stuff, especially if you water it down. But that guy that turned blue, I don't know how much he was taking, but that was crazy. You can go overboard. Anyway, language of horses. I'll try to find that one where that horse was nuzzling with a kitty. He was so cute. I said, I gotta send that to you. Anyway, you guys have a blessed day. And remember to pray for those victims. Oh my gosh. This world is going crazy. The Lord has to come, take us home. I'm ready. Are you? Bye-bye. Thank you for listening.